It's time once again for the City of Maple Grove Report. I'm Dave Kaiser from CCX Media. Thanks for joining us, along with Heidi Nelson, Maple Grove City Administrator, with the button on today. We'll talk more about that in just a little bit. We've got a meeting from June 17th to talk about a half hour in length, and also a work session ahead of that. Later in the program, many events coming up. We'll talk about Maple Grove Days and some of the other things that are happening in the city, so stick with us for that. Let's begin with the meeting on the 17th, the work session. Talked about the park board. Give us a little background here. The structure is what was discussed.
Yeah, so Maple Grove is a little unique, and I think sometimes maybe folks don't have awareness of this, but our park board is sort of has independent authority. So under state law, it's defined as a park board, and then our city code really lays out kind of their role and responsibility and their authority. But the city council reviews and approves their budget and any capital items. And then the park board is charged with really operating and managing that. So, for instance, all the staff that work in the Parks and Recreation Department report up through the park board. They are charged with maintaining and operating all of the park facilities, that type of thing. So, a little bit of a unique situation on the park board. It's been in place for many years, over 40 years, and I think generally has worked well for the city. I think there's just been some recent questions with the council of, have we outgrown this model, and do we want to maybe consider a change of bringing the park board back into kind of the city realm. But we provided a lot of good information to the council as part of this work session, sort of background on state law and our city code and the legal construct under which they operate, as well as sort of the financial aspects and staffing numbers. In general, the park board's responsible for about 18 to 20% of the city's operating budget, as well as capital assets. And then they do employ a lot of seasonal employees, about a 45 employee complement on the regular benefit earning employees. So lots of good discussion. The end of the discussion was that the council wasn't interested in making a change at this time. There are some things we're going to look at just to maybe increase more coordination kind of between our parks and public works in terms of project prioritization and that type of thing, and then maybe a little bit more reporting out to the council. So we'll look at those aspects, but at this time, no change proposed to the park board structure. And
just for a broader perspective, what does it look like in surrounding communities or within the state of Minnesota as far as setups like this? Yeah, we're pretty unique. There's a couple around the state, Rochester, Austin, Minnesota down south, but in terms of our comparable suburbs, really the park board's more function in an advisory capacity to the city council. Minneapolis, of course, has a completely separate, elected, has their own levy authority, that type of a thing. But in terms of suburbs, comparable suburbs, yeah, Maple Grove's a little unique in its structure. All right, that was the discussion ahead of the regular council meeting with the work session. Now let's go ahead to the council meeting on the 17th. Again, about a half hour in length. One item pulled from consent, and this has to do with lakes. A good report on what's been done on one lake and some other lakes getting some attention. Yeah, so this is for Eagle and Pike Lakes. There's going to be a project to reduce sort of the internal load, internal load management project out there to reduce phosphorus loads in the lake. And so we've done some of this work on Fish Lake. They were recently removed from the impaired waters list, so we know that this is beneficial, and this is something we partner with and gets funded by the watershed organization here in this area. And so just a great project for Eagle and Pike Lakes to help with water quality. One special presentation on the 17th, and that was from the state representative. Representative Robbinsdale to talk about the session. What did she have to say? Yeah, so shared kind of an update. There wasn't, from Maple Grove's chair, not a lot accomplished in this session. There wasn't a bonding bill. A lot of the local provisions in the tax bill got stripped out kind of at the last minute, and they really didn't even take up a transportation bill this session. So we weren't successful in getting any of our legislative bills accomplished. The only comfort in that is we weren't alone, is that so many cities had bills in for either authority from the state or funding, and really none of it got done this year. So we'll be looking ahead to next year to see what to pursue. But just some things that she mentioned. The SRO situation got resolved very early in the session, and we're very grateful for that work. Chief Werner was involved with Representative Robbins on that. Some clarity around the earned sick and safe time legislation
legislation when it comes to paid-on-call firefighters, so that was good. Straw purchases as felonies, those types of things. So there were things accomplished certainly during the session. When it comes to the city level, I think we're looking ahead to next year already.
All right, we'll keep you up to date. Let's go to public hearings on the 17th meeting. 2 items that were covered here related to some facilities within the city and liquor licenses.
Yeah, so a new 3-2 malt liquor license off sale for the Hampton Inn. So this is kind of, you see this in a lot of hotels now where they just have a little cooler in the lobby as part of a, maybe a little snack bar or something where you might buy a beer or something to take up to your room, that kind of a thing. So that's what that liquor license was about for the Hampton Inn.
Okay.
And then another ownership change for Pizza Karma, which is over at the Fountains. So anytime we have new ownership management, that liquor license has to be a new one issued in that new owner's name. So that one got completed as well.
Next item was community and economic development, and we've been following you through the steps of the Maple Grove Community Center, and here's another step in that process of the phase 1.
Yep.
Tell us what was discussed and what was decided.
Yeah, so we needed to do a PUD amendment for the community center phase 1. So we're kind of doing a few things. We're kind of changing the configuration of the parking, adding on that third sheet of ice. We're going to be acquiring a piece of land from Cub on the far west end to expand parking over there.
Right.
And so with that, replatting that area to combine it with the community center, and then we're creating a separate plat basically for that phase 1 of the community center project. So that kind of all got wrapped up into this action. It was before the Planning Commission about 10 days ago and then came to City Council. Pretty straightforward application, just sort of, and it was interesting, the council didn't really have a lot of discussion, but I think we've probably had 3 or 4 work sessions on this phase 1 of this project. So I think everybody has a pretty good understanding of what the project entails, how it will move forward, and why we needed to do this PUD amendment and kind of do the platting. So this gets done, and then we'll come back with those plats at a future meeting to get those approved, final approval there. And we are out to bid on phase 1. We're looking forward to getting those bids back June 27th, and then look to start construction. It'll probably be early August. We just need to get all these little things put together with the plats and the bids and all that. Hopefully we're looking, see those bids come in good. And put ourselves in a better financial position with this first phase 1 of the project. So lots of steps in the process, and this certainly was an important one.
All right, and as things get underway, we'll keep you up to date on that. As far as upcoming items for community and economic development, Planning Commission meeting, they've got one canceled and another one that looks very full. Yeah,
so at the end of July, Planning Commission will be back on the 29th of July for a meeting. We've got a 7-lot subdivision out in the Elm Road area. We've got a senior housing project over at the Village at Arbor Lakes, sort of east of Hemlock there, that fourth corner of Arbor Lakes. About 130 units there. It'll be independent senior living. Previously, it had been kind of programmed for assisted living and memory care. This is just going to be an independent market rate senior housing project. We've got a text amendment to our zoning with regard to garages on new lots that are established or redeveloped, that type of thing. So yeah, pretty big Planning Commission agenda on July 29th. Just kind of catching up, but giving them a break for the end of June here.
Also touched on was the park trail study, and we're going to give you more detail on that in just a few minutes, and also many ribbon cuttings. So it looks like lots of new businesses ready for summer.
It's been busy this time of year. We were at Broadway Pizza on Tuesday afternoon. They've been open for a bit, but this was kind of their official ribbon cutting. We were also at Magnify Financial, and Bean and Company is in their building there. Neat little shop. They've got coffee, great crepes. They also have hard scoop ice cream in there, so that's really nice. So, and it's a very interesting layout. The coffee shop and the bank are all open to each other, and so it's kind of all one big space. They have a nice patio over there too for the coffee shop. So check that one out if you haven't been over that way. Paris Baguette is having their ribbon cutting as we speak here, so I might have to stop over there on the way back. We've got a pediatric dentist at Camp Smile that is they're having their ribbon cutting here coming up later this afternoon, June 20th. They're located on 7880 Main Street.
Okay.
And then we have North Star Bank on July 9th. They're up in the Grove. And then Sweet Living Senior Care open house and ribbon cutting on July 10th. So a lot of ribbon cuttings and events this time of year with new businesses. So it's just great to get out and meet those new business owners and managers and congratulate them and welcome them to the Maple Grove community.
Business community is booming in the area. One item that was updated from engineering at this last council meeting, and that was a study on Maple Grove Parkway. Tell us what this is going to be in the upcoming meeting.
Yeah, so we've been doing some work out there. If you recall, when the County Road 101 project was under construction, we added some traffic control, so some stop signs out there along the Maple Grove Parkway corridor. Post that, one of them was kept in place, the other stop sign was removed. We're looking at kind of what would be the final traffic control and maybe some lane configuration changes out there. So this is part of kind of coming off of that, part of that impact from County Road 101. So neighborhood meeting coming up here on Thursday, June 27th to get feedback from those folks that live along that corridor, and then that'll come back to the council at a future date.
To wrap up the meeting, a couple administrative items, and the first was bond sales. Two very important bond sales, one related to streets and the other back to that community center.
Yeah, so we went out for a bond sale earlier this week, and leading up to a bond sale, anytime we do a bond sale, we have to go through the bond rating process, and our AAA bond rating was reconfirmed by Standards & Poor's, so that's very important and such a key factor for the city. It really speaks to our financial management and the financial health of the city, and so we're grateful to be able to continue in that AAA rating. Great bond sale here, true interest rate of 3.3%. We weren't sure where that interest rate was going to come in given where the markets are, but it's even less than where we were last year on our street recon sale, so that was real great. So overall, 22.7 million issued, about 15 of that goes to phase 1 of the community center project, and then the balance over to the street recon program for this year. So great issuance here, and we're just sort of optimistic about that interest rate and what that might mean for the markets and the rest of the world. Cities always are, in a great position on that, but hopefully that'll follow through here with interest rates in the rest of the world. So good to have that bond rating done and those that issuance completed for the city.
Couple final notes from the meeting. The meeting was before Juneteenth, and Juneteenth happened. How did that go? What was the big event like?
Yeah, so last night at Town Green, they had an event from 5 to 9, well attended. I was over there probably around the 6 o'clock hour, and the amphitheater was full and lots of food vendors and a market there, and it was just a great evening, and it was a beautiful day. We captured the one day this week with no rain, and it was cool and it was lovely. So they capped off the night with a Prince tribute band from 7 to 9, so great event. So just a huge appreciation. There's a planning committee that's involved with this event that really is from the community, based in the community, and then our Parks and Rec team comes behind and comes alongside and supports that. So great event. Congratulations to everybody who was involved. I heard nothing but wonderful feedback, so I think this year just helps to build on this event going forward.
That wrapped up the meeting then from the 17th, but let's look ahead to the next meeting, and the next one's going to be a little while here, so the council and staff gets a little bit of a break. Tell us about the council schedule. Yeah,
so the July 1 council meeting is canceled. That's kind of been our practice, is to take that first week of July off. It always falls, of course, in and around the 4th of July, so that's kind of takes a break for the council. So we'll be back on July 15th, right after Maple Grove Days.
And with that July 4th holiday, city offices closed at that time, correct?
Yep, that's right.
So make sure you're noting that. All right, let's go to some other things happening around the city, and one is the photo contest. This is prime time to get out and take some photos. When does that wrap up? Yeah, so it is open and accepting entries through June 30th. Okay. All details are on our city website, and you submit them electronically there. And then, we go through a voting process online, and then there's some judging that happens, and those winners are announced as we get into the fall months. couple openings on one of the great committees in the city of Maple Grove, and that is the Arbor Committee. Tell us about that committee, the work they do, and the openings.
Yeah, so we have 2 vacancies on the Arbor Committee for Maple Grove residents. You're encouraged to apply by the close of business on Thursday, June 27th. This volunteer committee focuses on tree planting and the preservation of the natural environment in our community. They also host the city's annual Arbor Day celebration. The committee is a great way to get involved in the city, and so we just encourage people who have an interest to reach out and make an application.
So that's one way to get involved with the city. Here is another way, by being a firefighter, and a special event coming up to help people understand what that means.
Yeah, so we have our last informational meeting Monday, July 8th at 7 p.m. at Fire Station 2 on Maple Knoll Way. That's just right off of Elm Creek Boulevard, north of Weaver there, the main Fire Station 2. That is a great meeting. Bring your family, opportunity to chat with current firefighters, get a tour of the station, kind of understand what being a firefighter might mean to your family. Lots of information available at mgfire.info. We're really looking for folks that are interested in serving their community and giving back. No experience or training required. We provide all of that to you, so kind of come as you are, and just a great, not only part-time type of employment opportunity, but also there's a pension that comes along with it. Not many part-time jobs offer that. And then, that's aside from just the great opportunity to serve the community, great camaraderie within the fire department at all of our 5 stations. And so if you have an interest, we encourage you to get out and check out the info on the website, and then attend that informational meeting on Monday, July 8th.
Again, that's mgfire.info. You can find out more. Earlier, we mentioned the Park Trail Study. Let's go back to that and talk in a little bit more detail. What is that? And I know it's a rather specific area of the city as well.
Yeah, so the city received a grant from Hennepin County to review the Maple Lakes and Teal Lake Park trail corridors. The area being studied runs from the Arbor Lakes area all the way up to County Road 81 and bordered by Zachary Lane to the east and Elm Creek Boulevard to the west. So folks are encouraged to provide input on how they use the trails and how they can be improved. So things like signage or seating that might be available along the corridor, those types of things. We have had a booth out at several events. They were out at Juneteenth last night event. They were at Chalk Fest. I know they're planning to be out at Maple Grove Days as well. So lots of opportunities for folks to provide input about how they use that trail corridor.
More from Park and Rec. Let's hop down a few items for you here. One is a neat item that you maybe don't know is available, a life jacket loaner station. Where can we find this in the city?
Yeah, this is great. Out at Weaver Lake. It's one at the boat launch and one near the fishing pier. These are free to anybody that's using the lake and in need of a life jacket. So important this time of year. We hear the stories of children that may not be able, or even adults that may not be able to swim. And so having these life jackets available is super important near those lakes.
Let's talk about pickleball, and there's a grand place for pickleball in the city, and it is busy.
It is. It is. It's great. It's great to see every day you drive by and it's full, which is exactly what we were trying to accomplish. So 18 brand new pickleball courts are open for play at Lakeview Knolls Park. We'll be over there this afternoon at 5:30 for the ribbon cutting, barring any severe weather interruptions. But just encourage people to check it out, whether you're a seasoned player or a brand new player. I think there's lots of opportunities to get involved. We are still completing the picnic shelter and the restrooms and landscaping, so some of the site work isn't quite done, but super important. The first thing was to get those courts under play, and they're doing well out there. So congrats to the Park and Rec team for that great project.
That is fun. All right, let's go to Town Green. It is the time of the year when a lot of activities happen there on a regular basis. What's coming up?
Yeah, so we have music performances at 7 p.m. Mondays and Wednesdays, and then kid or family-friendly entertainment is offered every Thursday at 10:30 a.m. And then the Friday night movies start July 14th. One note this year new is the Grooves and Foods. So on Wednesday evenings, this starts right after Maple Grove Days. Folks will find food trucks at Town Green along with special music performances presented by Mick Sterling. So got to have a concert series. They put on great shows, a lot of tribute concerts, that type of thing. Starting at 7 p.m. The Maple Grove Rotary Club is a sponsor of these evenings, these Wednesday evenings. So we'll be out there helping with kind of beer and food sales, and then promoting Rotary as well. So lots of fun things coming up at Town Green for the summer season.
Yeah, make sure you head over. Also head over to the Farmers Market. It is going very well at its new location, but we have a note as well about a date that it's going to be closed.
Yeah, so they're continuing up at Church of the Open Door, 3 to 7 p.m. every Thursday. Going really well up there. Lots of parking, easy to access. So I think it's been a great site during this, what will be a construction year this year and likely next year at the community center. Just note that the 4th of July does fall on a Thursday this year, so there'll be no market on the 4th of July.
Let's go to Central Park, talk about some fun that's being had there, and that is with the splash pad, although it's been a little cool, but that doesn't stop the kids, does it?
It doesn't matter, I don't think. Yeah, so the splash pad's open every day from 10 to 9, so great there, and the playground is open and accessible to folks, so encourage people to get out and check out the splash pad.
All right, as you see, Heidi has the button on, and that means Maple Grove Days is coming soon. All right, let's give people the overview of this grand event in the city.
Yes, so calendars, get them out and mark them for July 10th through the 14th for our annual Maple Grove Day festivities. Organizers of the event, Maple Grove Community Organization, puts on this event. Lots of activities throughout the week. mgco.org is the place to find all that information. The brochure will be coming out here shortly as well. So the parade on Thursday evening along 89th Avenue from Zachary Lane to Elm Creek Boulevard. That gets started around 6:30. We have ambassador coronation on Friday night at 7 o'clock up at Maple Grove Senior. And then the fireworks are on Saturday night, kind of capping off the big day at the community center and on Main Street. Good viewing in the Town Green area. Again, mgco.org for all the time and details. And they'll have any updates there on the schedules or weather impacts, anything like that.
Another big event that happens that same weekend right in that same area is the Art Fair. Tell us about the Art Fair and all that is to see there. Yeah,
so this is another great component of Maple Grove Days, the Arbor Lakes Art Fair. It's held over at the shops at Arbor Lakes, kind of that middle street area that they close off for this purpose. So it's on both Saturday, July 13th and Sunday, July 14th. Saturday 10 to 6 p.m. and then Sunday 11 to 4. And so this is organized by the Maple Grove Arts Center and just a great event for the community. So I encourage people to not only take in the things over by, the Government Center, Town Green, the Community Center, but then hop over to the shops and check out the art as well.
Which makes me think, as far as transportation and parking around that big weekend, what type of help, where can I go to maybe find out some tips of where to park and how to get around town?
Yeah, so mgco.org would have a lot of that information, but we do provide that shuttle bus service from the ramp down there at Arbor Lakes, so you really could go there and kind of ride the circuit and catch all of the things, Central Park, over at the Community Center, Town Green, and then back to the art show. So yeah, nice circulator around town.
Right, there are a few people that come to Maple Grove during that weekend, so it might just be a little bit busy.
Yes.
Final note to pass along, looking way ahead into the month of August. It is National Night Out. Remind us what that is and how people can right now get involved.
Yeah, so this is our opportunity to get out in the community and work towards, really crime prevention in our neighborhoods. And so our neighborhood block captains come together and host neighborhood parties. We, as a city, police, fire, public works all get out to visit each of those parties. In the last couple of years, we've had close to 200 parties, and we're still able to capture, a visit to each one of them. Right. So note also we have a great kickoff event August 6th from 11:30 to 1 at Central Park. This is changing to Central Park because of the construction at the community center. But that's a great location too. We have the great lawn there. It'll be a great event out there at Central Park that day. So if you haven't registered your neighborhood group yet, you can either give a call up to the police department. Todd Strigi is who you want to talk to, or there's also information available on the website. If you just go on and search for National Night Out, that'll pop right up. But it's really one of the highlights of the year, and just important to get neighbors out and thinking about crime prevention in their neighborhoods.
Well, as you see, a lot happening in the city of Maple Grove. So Heidi, thanks so much for being with us and giving us the update. Let's give you an update of that next council meeting. And again, make note here that it is not as fast as you think it might be. It's going to be the middle of July. That will be July 15th for the next council meeting. And you also see down on the bottom left of the screen, maplegrovemn.gov, the city's website. A lot of information there about the events that we've talked about and other things happening in the city. For Heidi Nelson, I'm Dave Kaiser. Thanks for joining us on the City of Maple Grove Report.